So real quick, I just want to be clear about something. I actually made a mistake in this video. I've already recorded it, but I accidentally said that Brian Flores was the play caller. I say it a couple times in this video. That is not the case. It is Josh Boyer. I still stand by every positive I said about Flores. I'm sure he still has a huge handle on how they run their defense and the things that I'm going to be talking about in this video. I'm sure that he's co-signed on all of them, but some of the stuff should go to Josh Boyer and some of the credit should go to him, at least just as much as Flores. So just quick correction. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. So I think Brian Flores is really good at coaching football. I think that clearly that's been established at this point, but I still want to talk about it. I mean, you can't just simply talk about, well, look at the team he inherited and how quickly he got them to win 5 games that year and then 10 games the following year, which I guess means they'll win 15 the year after and 20 the year after that. But not exactly how that works, but still. But it's not just the success. I mean, there's a lot that I think you can argue is really impressive. I mean, just look at some of these numbers. Pro Football Focus said that they only had the 14th rated defense in terms of actual talent, and yet they finished 5th in terms of points per drive. So what's the reason for that? Some people might say, Pro Football Focus, they just suck. And again, I get it. Some people hate Pro Football Focus. I personally think they're pretty accurate in most cases, with some exceptions, of course. And I think this one seems pretty accurate. I mean, maybe you could argue it should be a little bit higher, but, you know, this Dolphins defense, they certainly have some stars in the secondary, but a lot of their, front seven are kind of just competent players, which isn't necessarily like incredible. So then how did they do so good in terms of points per drive? Well, I think part of it is they've just built their team right. I mean, that's how you build a defense, is from the back to the front. That's what the analytics say, at least. So that's number one. There's a couple other things that you could say. For one thing, they were first in turnovers, which, that tends to be a bit fluky, a bit lucky, doesn't always carry over year after year, and a lot of times the reason for it is because a good chunk of turnovers are the offense's fault as opposed to the defense doing stuff well, although of course some are defense doing stuff well and most are a combination. But I want to really get into the film and talk about some of the reasons that I think that they're able to have so much success and things that I do think will carry over year to year, and I think it is because of Flores. That's what I think. So for example, something like this. You're going to see some movement right at the line of scrimmage with Kyle Van Noy moving over, and what's going to happen here is this is just going to be a blitz where they have 6 people rushing the passer, and it's an empty backfield. There's only 5 offensive linemen. These cover 0 blitzes, Flores is not afraid to run. The Miami Dolphins were second in terms of teams that blitzed the most frequently, and it really had some great success. Like, watch, on this one, Goff just doesn't even notice it and ends up losing the football, and this is going to turn into an 80-yard defensive touchdown. That's obviously a huge play, and when you blitz like this, it can create some immediate pressures, whereas when you're rushing 4, that play just never happens. That never happens when you're rushing 4. Maybe it'll happen once a season because a tackle got completely fooled and thought he was doing, is an idiot or something, but it basically never happens. But when you blitz, that stuff can happen. And just to be absolutely clear, what I mean is when you rush 4, getting pressured that quickly never happens, and immediate pressure can result in turnovers more than a slower pressure does. It's just because a quarterback is expecting it less. And stuff like this is another example of another play where this is going to be a turnover, so you could say, bit fluky, but at the same time, this is the Miami defense getting schemed into figuring out ways to create turnovers. It's the same reason Bill Belichick teams tend to create a lot of turnovers, and they especially did when Brian Flores was there. So again, it's a cover 0. I should mention, if you remember the Stephon Gilmore interception in the Super Bowl, that was a cover 0 that Flores schemed up. So there you go. He loves these cover 0s. He likes to sprinkle them in, and they make a lot of sense to do. They can get you some big swing plays. That's what's going to happen here. Again, a straight shot to Goff. Goff throws while he's hit, and it ends up being an interception right there because he just threw it up. Whereas Goff probably should have just taken the sack. But either way, that's still a great play. And it's a great play not because the talent is necessarily doing anything that crazy. It's more so that Flores is just helping them out. Flores is calling these games really well. And I do think that, maybe this is a controversial take, but after going back and watching some of the tape, I would say that Flores probably should have been in the Coach of the Year conversation and maybe should have won it, because the value that he added to his football team through just calling the right play time after time after time It was just remarkable. And then he can do stuff like this. So it's set up as though it's going to be another cover 0, right? You read this play, okay, another cover 0 probably, right? That's what's going to happen here. And it's, it's a 2nd down and 2. So it's not like a cover 0 type situation that you would go. And in fact, I think Jared Goff would likely, if it's a cover 0, say, okay, I'll just throw, let's do a quick pass. I'll get something open, get the first down, cool. But look at this. Miami's going to have 2 players drop back into coverage right over the middle right there, which is key because a lot of what the Rams do when they notice that there's a quick blitz is they will have a hot route, which is just someone kind of steps over the middle. So the Rams are kind of the Dolphins are counteracting what the Rams are going to do to counteract their attack by dropping a couple people back and hoping that Goff doesn't notice this, and he's going to throw it directly into a Dolphin player. And watch, as you see, I'm not sure if this was a hot route. It looked like that was just what the route was, in general, but it made sense for Goff to want to throw that, thinking that it's cover 0. However, it gets intercepted immediately because of the good scheme by Flores. And I think Flores will continue to be able to do this stuff because he's been doing it for a while. I mean, he's been with Bill Belichick for this long. Maybe teams will get a little bit wiser. Maybe they won't always finish first in takeaways, but this stuff is going to carry over year to year. It just is to some degree. Again, how much, that's where the discussion becomes, but I think a good amount. I would say that, I'll be surprised if the Dolphins finish outside of the top 10 in takeaways next year. I'd be very surprised. Whereas with some of the other teams that are in the top 5 in takeaways, I maybe wouldn't be as surprised if they drop off. So let's talk about something else now, because a lot of what Flores does, it's similar to what Sean McVay does, but on the opposite side of the football. And what I mean by that is he plays the odds. So this is the cover 3 right here. It's a zone coverage play. And that's a lot of what Flores will do is he likes to play cover 1 or cover 3, but he'll play the cover 3 zone typically when it's a first down. That's when he likes to throw a good amount of cover 3 zones in because a lot of teams run the ball on first down, or at least are more likely to. And so because of this, Flores will sprinkle in a good amount of zone coverage plays to try and help stop the run. This isn't anything too fancy, and honestly, this whole section of the video isn't going to be like anything mind-blowing, but it's just a good example of showing the little things he can do and the adjustments he can make mid-game. So John Gruden, he had seen this on tape, so he runs a good zone buster. This is very early on in the game. Runs a route that's good against cover 3. They get the first down. Nothing too crazy. However, then on the very next first down that happened, you see that Brian Flores, so he's getting a little bit wiser. Yes, the Raiders are once again running a play that's great against a cover 3 zone. This is really good against zone coverage, this concept, but that's too bad because the Dolphins are now playing man. Flores is not married to any scheme. He is not married to any coverage. And the second he realizes that you're trying to attack a certain coverage, he's going to mix it up, and he's not going to let you really get your footing. And that's just what I like about Flores. Because as you see, really nothing is going to get too open. Maybe Carr could have done something, but he tries to just throw it to the halfback, misses the throw. So right there, perfect example of Flores making things easier on his defense simply through the play calling. So yeah, that's what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.